Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm Mindy, this is See Mindy Mom, and today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite cheap, easy, nutritious, WW plan friendly snacks, and that is popcorn, so stay tuned. All right, you guys, so as I have been kind of traveling down this path of clean-ish eating and trying to eat less processed stuff, one of the things that I have found it difficult to find are really great snacks. And one of my go-tos lately has been air-popped popcorn. Now on the purple plan, plain air-popped popcorn is 0 smart points, as in you buy the kernels, you pop them yourself. That's the 0 point popcorn on the purple plan, not the stuff that comes in bags or the stuff that comes already seasoned or already popped. It has to be just the regular kernels that you pop yourself using some kind of device in the microwave, right? But on the green and the blue plans, it's not a bad choice either, because it's about 1 smart point per cup popped, or 1 smart point for every 13 grams popped if you're weighing it out on your scale. So you can have up to 4 cups popped for only 4 smart points, or you can weigh out in grams the amount that you want and count 1 smart point for every 13 grams, and that actually is a lot of popcorn. I like to pop my popcorn in the microwave using a silicone air popper that I bought on Amazon a couple of years ago. I think it was less than $15, and it has been a great kitchen tool. I use it to make popcorn all the time. I use it to make popcorn for the kids as well. The one that I use, or one that's like it, is linked in my Amazon store, which is in the description box below. If you don't have one of those, I actually recently discovered that you can pop popcorn kernels in just a plain brown paper bag. And so I will leave also a recipe for sweet and salty popcorn in the description box that uses that method, so that you can learn how to do that if you happen to have brown paper lunch bags on hand for popping your popcorn. Now, in addition to being a pretty good smart points value, it's also pretty budget friendly. You can buy popcorn kernels in lots of different stores. You can buy them in the bulk bins at Sprouts or Whole Foods, or maybe in your local grocery store if you have a bulk bins section. I have seen them for as low as 79 cents a pound for conventional at Sprouts, and I see the organic popcorn kernels at Sprouts and at Whole Foods for around $2.50 a pound. You can also buy popcorn kernels in Walmart. I've seen them there as well. There are name brand, and then there are store brand popcorn kernels. They have conventional, and I also even saw an organic popcorn kernel from Jolly Time Popcorn, I think it was, in Walmart, and it was about $2.50 for 16 ounces or a pound as well. Considering the fact that you can get up to 8 cups of popped popcorn for each 1/4 cup of kernels, or up to 64 cups of popcorn for each pound of popcorn kernels, that comes out to just about 4 cents per cup popped, and that's a pretty good value, I think. Now, obviously, you know, the popcorn is a pretty good smart points value, but it's the stuff we put on top of it where we get into trouble, right? I mean, who doesn't love a nice big tub of buttery popcorn, especially at the movie theaters? But that butter or oil, or even some of the kind of sugary toppings you can put on popcorn, those can really add the smart points on really, really quickly. So what I do instead is I just spray a little bit of olive oil spray on my popcorn when it's done popping, and then I will top it with some of my homemade popcorn seasonings that I've been playing around with making lately. Now, they do make popcorn seasonings that you can purchase in the store, but I actually like making mine at home with stuff that I already have on hand in my cupboards, because then I know exactly what's in it. And also it is pretty good for my pocketbook as well, because I can usually make them for less than what they would cost me to purchase in the store. So I have 3 different popcorn seasonings to share with you guys today. And so let's dive in and I'll show you how I'm making those. And by the way, if these recipes were inspired by anything online, I will make sure that I link them in the description box below. All right, you guys, we're going to start with my favorite one that I've discovered so far, and it is a sour cream and onion popcorn seasoning. The inspiration for this is coming from shutterbean.com, and I will leave the original recipe linked in the description box below, but I am making just a few adjustments to it. I am starting with some powdered buttermilk, 3 tablespoons of powdered buttermilk. And if you're wondering where in the world do you find powdered buttermilk, I find it in the baking aisle in my grocery stores. I've even seen it in Walmart. And it is where all of the other milks are in the baking aisle, you know, like the non-fat dry milk and the sweetened condensed milk and so on and so forth. You do need to refrigerate it after it's opened, and I also refrigerate this particular popcorn seasoning. I just put the shaker in the refrigerator once I'm done mixing it. So I have 3 tablespoons of powdered buttermilk, 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, and then to that I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of onion powder. And this is going into just a little mini food processor that I have. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then It calls for fresh dill, but I'm going to use dried dill. And instead of using 3 tablespoons of fresh dill, I'm just using 3 teaspoons of dried dill. And I'm putting that all into my little bitty food processor. Then I'm going to add some salt and pepper. It calls for sea salt, but I'm just using some of this pink Himalayan salt. You guys know that I really like that, and I'm just going to grind some of that. I didn't really measure it. I just kind of eyeballed however much I thought I would want. And then some fresh black pepper as well. And once I have all of my ingredients in there, I'm just going to give my little mini food processor a few pulses until it's combined. Just pop the lid on there and just kind of stir everything around so that all of the ingredients get combined really well. Now, I bought some jars at Home Goods for these popcorn seasonings. They were like $1.99 a jar. So I went ahead and just invested in a few of those. I have also been saving just some of my old spice containers, you know what I mean? I was specifically looking for jars and containers though that had bigger holes than salt and pepper shakers, because I feel like the seasonings won't come out very evenly if you don't have the shakers with the bigger holes in them. The next one I'm making is a Dorito flavored popcorn seasoning, and I was really excited to try this, but personally I thought it was just kind of so-so, but still I like it. It has a nice kick to it. It is from the website naturalchow.com, and I will leave that recipe linked in the description box below. It starts with a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. And if you're wondering where in the world do you find nutritional yeast, I'm seeing it more and more in stores. I actually saw it in Trader Joe's. I got mine at Sprouts. I think they have it at Whole Foods. I know people order it online. I've been excited to kind of play around with that ingredient because I hear that it has kind of a cheesy flavor. So I started with a 1/4 cup of that, and then I'm adding a lot of different spices to this. It calls for garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, and paprika, a teaspoon of each of those. But I always go just a little bit light on the cumin. I feel like a teaspoon of cumin is a lot. And it also calls for 1½ teaspoons of chili powder, and then 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And I probably took just a little bit easy on the cayenne pepper, just a dash of this, and then 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, I went really light on the salt at first because I thought 2 teaspoons sounded like a lot, but then after I tasted this, I ended up going back and adding just a little bit more salt to it, and I think just a little bit more cumin and cayenne pepper and chili powder because I felt like it was just a little bit bland. Maybe that was just my spices. Maybe my spices were old or something like that. But again, I'm putting this into my food processor, my little bitty food processor, and then I'm going to pop the lid on and just mix it up until it is all combined. And I just want to make sure that all of those ingredients get, together the way that they're supposed to. And then I have another jar that I'm going to place this in, and this one doesn't need to be refrigerated. At least I don't think so. There's nothing in here that I usually refrigerate. I just put this up in my spice cabinet. And I just thought this one was okay, but it was very good whenever I sprinkled a little bit of this along with some of the sour cream and onion seasoning. And so I kind of sprinkled a little bit of each one of those on my popcorn, and I found it to be really, really good. So you might try this one out if you want something just a little bit spicy. I'll also add, you guys, that the only thing worth points in this seasoning is the nutritional yeast, and it's 1 smart point for a 1/4 cup of that. And so it's, not really very many points at all. The next one is a sweet popcorn topping. It is a peanut butter popcorn seasoning, and it's coming from neighborfoodblog.com. It starts with 4 tablespoons of powdered peanut butter. I'm using PB2 because that's what I have. I've had this in my pantry for several months. I'm trying to use it up. I did see a powdered peanut butter at Trader Joe's that's organic. I'm kind of interested to try that whenever I run out of this one. But 4 tablespoons of powdered peanut butter, and that is 2 smart points for 4 tablespoons. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar and a pinch of salt. Now, I'm going to use a powdered sugar substitute. It's a powdered erythritol. I have had this in my pantry for a while, so I'm anxious for an opportunity to use it up because I don't do a lot of baking with sugar substitutes. But you can use a regular powdered sugar, just plain old powdered sugar. 2 tablespoons is only 4 smart points. So that would make this entire jar of seasoning 6 smart points total. And you could use about a tablespoon for a point, or you could, figure out how much in grams that would be if you want to weigh it and then subtract the weight of your
jar or your container that you're using, and then sprinkle it on your popcorn according to weight. That's up to you. But this entire jar for me is only 2 smart points because I'm using the erythritol instead of powdered sugar. But again, if I didn't have this, I probably would just use powdered sugar and just count a point per tablespoon. And a tablespoon goes a long way over a serving of popcorn if you're eating it as a snack. So again, I'm just putting this into a little shaker, and I store it in my spice cabinet, and I have that to sprinkle on my popcorn when I want.
All right, you guys, that's what I have for you today. I hope that that was helpful and that you got a yummy snack idea from that. Like I said, I think popcorn is a great snack choice on all of the plans, and I think it's even better whenever we take the time to make it ourselves and are in full control over everything that's going in it and on top of it. So I will check in with you guys again very soon. Bye.